Hi, everyone. Welcome to Optimum Ed. I'm Tom Leahy. I'm the managing partner here, and I'm
And
joined today. I'm,
I was jumping in to
your
introduce
turn.
myself.
Your turn, Candace.
I'm Candace Suarez. I'm the director of student counseling at Optimum Ed.
Obviously, these things are not scripted.
Right. Just winging
So,
it.
yeah, but so it's really about having a conversation about things that are
Yeah.
important when it comes to children, students, and trying to figure this whole thing out about post. I was having a conversation with somebody this morning, Candace, and I think really think about Optum Ed when in terms of post-secondary
Right.
education and training. So it's not always about college. It's not always about
Right.
that. It's about what makes sense, what's next for our kids, our students, in terms of finding a way forward.
Yeah, and just finding out what that next step is going to be. And I know I've said it multiple times that you don't, as a high school junior, senior, you don't have to sit there and be stressed about deciding what you're going to be for the next 30 years. You're just looking about what makes sense for you for your next step, and just finding out what the best fit is that suits you.
Right. Yeah. But for so many students, it's a question of figuring out college. Is that the right direction? And if it
Hmm.
is, what does that look like in terms
Right.
of the admissions process? And really, right now for juniors, that's probably the most impactful. I mean, we
Hmm.
have seniors right now that have gone through the process. They're getting their responses from the schools they've applied to, looking at financial aid offers and that sort of thing. But our juniors, they're looking at going into the last half of the year and the summer
Yeah.
with the expectation of filling out applications and doing that as they become seniors next fall. And for them, what's going on in terms of all the chaos, academic chaos and testing and all of that really is the most impactful. And so we
Yeah.
wanted to talk today about a part of the application process, which I think has been impacted the most, probably other than testing, that's been
Hmm.
affected too. But the resume piece of the application
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. And what we mean by that is, all that extra stuff that isn't going to be conveyed by your grades. It's the part that really paints that complete picture of who the student is, what they stand for, what they love to do, and how they've occupied their time outside of the school setting. And I know the juniors and even sophomores that we're talking to, they're stressed about that right now. They're saying, but there's no way we can be going out and doing this. The clubs aren't running. We can't volunteer. Sports have been, altered. So they're really stressed and struggling right now.
Yeah, so let's put them in perspective
Yeah.
a little bit. So when we talk about the application process, there's different pieces to it, but
Hmm.
again, we talk about this, creating this holistic image of the student but keep in mind that, your academics, your what your transcript looks like in terms of the rigor of your course load and that journey you've taken academically is always going to be the most important aspect
Hmm.
of the application. So it is important to continue to focus on your grades, on your performance, because that's the first thing that is looked at. Despite the conversations about other things that are part of the application process, that continues to be the lead in terms of importance. All right, so there's that. Then there's the testing, and where
Hmm.
does that go? Well, we don't really know. Is it going to continue to be optional or not even considered? That is still a conversation. So I think the best advice is to plan on taking the SAT, the ACT come, later, in the spring if you're a junior. You don't want to find yourself in a position where all of a sudden they're saying, "Oh, we're going to be looking at tests," and you
Exactly.
haven't taken it because
Yeah.
you were betting on it not being part of the process. So the best advice would be to go ahead and plan to take it, in June, May, June, whatever, this later this fall or this spring. I'm sorry, with an anticipation of being able improve yourself.
Take it again. Yeah.
In the fall. Right. Exactly. Testing. Then we have, part of, we're going to come back to the resume because that's what we're talking about. So we've got letters of recommendation as well, which is going to be increasingly important, I think, because if testing isn't being looked at, where do the admissions committees turn? Letters of recommendation become important. So really think through that, who you're asking to write your letter of recommendations, and make sure that they can do a good job for you. And then, the essay part of the application process is probably going to become more important too, to really tell your story and to give the admissions committees something else beyond your academics. Okay, so, and then we have the resume, which we want to talk about today, because this is really what has been impacted regarding virtual, classroom and that sort of thing. Kids are not able to do their extracurricular activities that they were before, sports and all of that. So let's talk about the resume a little bit, Candace. What is so important about the resume?
Well, and I think it just really, the resume is that chance, as I said, to paint a complete picture of who you are as a student, who you are as a person outside of the classroom. Do you have interests in things that you, for example, if you've been, a swimmer since you're 5 years old and you've been continuing that through high school, is it something that, you can show commitment and dedication to, that you've been working at it for a long time? Opportunities to show leadership potential. Did you rise to captain of your soccer team? Did you rise to captain of a debate team? Were you the president of the French club in your high school? All of those leadership opportunities are a good thing to show too. It shows that initiative and other things as well. Creativity. Yeah. Did you win awards for your pieces of work? Speaking of creativity, like artwork, did you get showcased and for an essay that you wrote or a short story? All of those things go into showing the complete person that you are.
Right. And so because colleges want students that are going to bring something beyond grades and test scores to their campuses. They want to create in a village of diversity and people who are going to step on campus and lead and be part of that community beyond the classroom. And that's why this resume piece is important, is to be able to demonstrate that to the admissions committees. But and in this environment where students are not at school, not able to go to their clubs and do their things that they normally do, how does one portray that in this environment? Well, I think it's an opportunity. It really is an opportunity. One, to shine, because maybe your classmates and other students are finding it too much of a challenge to do things and to find ways to further those causes that are important to you. So by doing so, you're really going to put yourself ahead of others that have just looked at the challenge as a way to not do anything, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but it's like thinking outside the box. What can I do? There's all sorts of opportunities, like here in the Richmond area. The volunteering. There's so many organizations and things that are doing things online.
Yeah.
The Richmond Moms blog, and I think it's richmondmom.com, I think but you can Google it. But this is a national organization as well. And part of what they do is they post opportunities for young people to volunteer in different activities. So there's ways of finding outlets for doing community service and doing good work. We were talking with a student yesterday that wants to pursue, elementary school teaching. Well, is there a way that they can, develop something online where they provide a service interaction and an outlet for elementary school students to come together virtually and to talk about things that they're concerned about or they're interested in, or maybe even teaching them something virtually.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
takes a
And
little effort.
that opportunity for creativity. If we were going so far as to say, a YouTube channel where they could do like science experiments with little kids and teach them how to do it, and just the initiative of doing something like that in this kind of a climate would make you really stand out.
Yeah. And so, and again, it's keeping in mind that the resume too, and what you're portraying there should support, in most cases, if possible, your academic direction that you're going in, in college, or you want to go in college. So that kind of circles us back to the process of planning for higher education, and that's determining direction. I mean, that's really the most important step. Undecided and all that. So next week, you and Amanda team are talking about specifically that. How
the undecided.
How do you make that decision? How do you figure that out? Because that is so important in cutting down on the academic chaos and everything that occurs when kids go off to college. So you and Amanda are going to be talking about that next week. So y'all make sure you tune in at noon on next Thursday for that discussion. I think it's going to be really important. So if you have any questions, you want to have a conversation about how you frame your resume and how that looks in terms of the application process overall, reach out to Candace, reach out to us at OptoMed, and we can be I think we can be helpful in that. OptoMedCenter.com is our website. Contact us through there, or our office number is 804-417-4807. Either way, we be happy to have a conversation with you. Doesn't cost anything to chat. So Candace, any closing thoughts?
No, not that I can think of. Just hopefully we're all staying warm and not iced up today.
Right. Yeah, it's a good day to sit in front of the fireplace and think creatively about how you can move this whole thing forward. Right. Yeah. So anyway, we'll let you go. It was great talking with you today, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.
Bye-bye.